What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Forget Black Flash, this man is about to White Flash. Is there some sort of rule that I missed out on that states that if you don't add any unnecessary incest to your manga, you just get executed? Too many of you motherfuckers are weird. Gege, I can excuse violently killing half of your cast, but I draw the line at incest. Shame on you. Oh shit, yeah, a bunch of shit also happened. This episode is the melting pot of this show. Just looking at this episode overall, this is where shit all starts coming together. At this point, Gege realizes that he has disabled or killed off all the interesting characters, so he just throws all of the unused ones and not so relevant ones into the current situations, except the one that people actually want to see. Now, this isn't that much of a criticism, because we also get a whole lot of mystery revealed, while at the same time building up hype for Yuta's return. With hindsight, Yuta is an absolute fucking demon. The Queen of the Curses isn't as strong as the King, but the big difference is that she actually likes her vessel, so he just becomes this absolute machine in like 3 months, whereas Yuji still has to do the hero's journey. Regardless of that, throwing in all of the unused characters that are left definitely solves some big mysteries in the show. But then again, they also open up a whole load more questions at the same time, and we only have one more episode left. Whoa, let's get into it, shall we? See, we even start this episode on random dudes. We get some Kusakabe and Panda, who have done nothing this season. They're both funny, so they get a pass. But you cannot convince me this man was not just sitting down there so we didn't have to do anything. Just after this, Kusakabe locks in to go serious mode, because now we get into the discussion of killing Itadori. Now this is getting interesting. Gojo was kind of Yuji's #1 defender, and with him gone, and Yuji killing like a bazillion people in Shibuya, it is not looking good for him, especially with the amount of fingers in him right now. What the fuck? I personally would have loved to see some sort of inner conflict arc caused by the main character, because it is one of my favourite tropes in shonen. What the fuck? What the fuck? Alright, I've already done this bit, moving on. The actual interesting parts of this scene are 1, PP has some sort of long distance warping technique, which is something that not even Gojo can do consistently, and 2, Mei Mei is on the phone to a mystery character right now. There are infinite possibilities. It could be a new character, it could be Yuta, it could be Gojo. I can't continue this joke because all of the characters are dead. After that very uncomfortable scene, we finally come back here to Kenny. I don't want to call him fake Ghetto all the time. I was on the wiki at some point because I needed a Ghetto PNG, and in the related articles section, I saw a dude named Kenjaku with the exact same PNG as Ghetto, so I'm just going to call him that. Also, somebody in my comment sections call him Kenny, and that's funny, so I'm going with that. Kenny sure does love to talk, so we have a typical villain chat. Although he really doesn't seem that much different to Ghetto, he's just not as incredibly racist. Another way that he doesn't seem that much different is his techniques. Kenny doesn't seem to have any notable curse techniques of his own, or at least he's just not revealing them yet. He's kind of just using Ghetto's crazy utility with his cursed spirit manipulation. You know, shit like, I make you think you're falling through a big fish, but you're actually just tripping over nothing. As they put it themselves, its advantage is their endless tactics. And then you've got shit like the centipede beam. This fucks Yuji up. Look at him. If he was anybody else in the series, they would probably be fucked. Mahito tries to kill Kenny for some reason, but he just dodges and then sends him on his merry way. Come on, that was nowhere near violent enough for a fucker like Mahito. Oh, skip the intro, I don't care anymore. Oh my god, we get more cursed energy exposition. This is nowhere near the perfect power system, but it sure is interesting. JJK seems very practical with its power system. It doesn't explain a whole lot in detail, it just introduces cool shit that it knows the viewer will like. Kenny proceeds to yap on a little bit about cursed energy, and then he eats Mahito. He doesn't even need to chase him. From here is where the jumping starts. All of the unused characters start to flood in to take turns at potshotting Kenny. The Zenin girl has a sniper now, which is way cooler because snipers are awesome. Then Miwa comes in with his monologue about her life, and then she's behind Ghetto ready to cut him. After all of the L's that she has been through, maybe Miwa will finally get her moment after going through the pain of losing Mekamaru. Oh, you suck, Miwa. Get hit with a Mahito beam. She does get saved by more characters that are thrown into the mix, though. At this point, Kenny is just straight up Aizen. They are getting jumped by all of the members of the cast that are left after blocking somebody's sword with their bare hand, and he seems completely calm and fine and unharmed. Now, I often compare JJK to be a more simple approach to shonen, just done very well. But Kenny's existence is definitely one of the more unorthodox parts of JJK. We have 2 main villains rather than 1. Although Sukuna definitely has more presence and might be the fan favourite, you can't deny Kenjaku was set up to be a huge threat. I don't know how connected the two are, or if he's a follower of Sukuna or what, but they do seem to share the ally of Arame. Speaking of that, we are throwing in every character. Choso is now here to drop some fucking plot bombs. I can quickly see him becoming a fan favourite. He starts off by revealing that Kenny was one of the guys that made him, that super duper evil sorcerer, and that Yuji is his little brother. So yeah, Yuji could be a cursed womb, and that would explain why he's a genetic freak, that's for sure. This guy has a lot of weird but cool ass brothers. And damn, is he being bold as fuck too. He's the only one here ballsy enough to attack the main villain. These guys are ancient too. If Arame was around with Sukuna, and Kenny is effectively immortal, then these guys are experienced. Choso shoots out some piercing blood at the androgynous one, which fails to really achieve anything. He tries to start throwing hands with Kenjaku, but as they said, Geto's cursed spirits are useful as shit. He can just casually lift up the ground, or fly away with the power of cursed spirits. He even throws a fucking thwomp at Choso, and is able to reflect the piercing blood. And then we just get a straight up fist fight. It's no Yuji versus Choso, but it sure does have some nice choreography. Kenny has that signature style of strong guy that isn't taking it that seriously, as he keeps dodging and kicking the shit out of Choso, followed by them jumping off of the pillar. What the fuck is that? Finally, the team decides to step in and start jumping again. We are not having any Naruto versus Pain shenanigans in this show, but they do immediately get stopped by Arame. We have finally filled up all of our main archetypes, and we now have an ice user, and they are just as annoying as you would expect. Yuji, however, doesn't give a shit because he's the main character, although he still does need to be saved. This time, it's just by the only other character that hasn't been used yet, Awooga. Alright, so yeah, huge episode, really big deal. But at the start, I said, but then again, they also opened up a whole load more questions at the same time, so here are all the new doors and questions that have been opened. Number 1, what actually is Yuji? Is he a cursed corpse? Is he human? 2, how old is Kenny? How strong is Kenny compared to somebody like Sukuna? 3, what is Kenny's connection to Sukuna, and what is Arame's deal? 4, what is the deal with Yuki? What's her curse technique? 5, what is a Weast curse technique, and why are these siblings massive weirdos? And most importantly, who was Mei on the phone with? Well, ultimately, it doesn't really matter because everybody and their mother is going to be reading the manga after the season. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.